Hello and welcome to this video today. My name is Brian Rankin from Chartered Accountants Ireland. I'm the Head of Student Operations at the Institute. We're producing a series of videos here in association with Chartered Accountants Ireland education team and with our Thrive colleagues. Thrive is the wellbeing and emotional support hub supporting chartered accountant communities. So today we're going to be talking about the topic of setbacks in exams, and we've all been there in a situation where we haven't been successful in a particular exam somewhere along the path. I'm delighted today to be joined by Cyril Conroy. Cyril is not only a chartered accountant, but a professional therapist and relationship mentor. So we're delighted to have Cyril advise us. So over to you, Cyril. What thoughts have you got in terms of bouncing back from an exam setback and moving on from that?
That's great, Brian, and thanks a million for the lovely introduction. I'm just going to share my screen, everyone, and just have some slides here that I prepared. So we are talking about rising and refocusing after exam result setbacks. I'm really delighted to be talking about this subject because I feel it's very, very important. So much of us can, have feelings of failure when it comes to exams. Firstly, it is so understandable to have feelings of failure after receiving a failed result. We can have focused ourselves so much, put so much time into it, put so much effort and stress into it. We can ask ourselves questions like, what did I do wrong here? What else could I have done? And we can really begin to doubt ourselves and our ability. We may have been desperately fighting off these doubts in the first place, working so hard and so much to get this exam, to prove ourselves. But for whatever reason, it has not worked. And then it can be that we start to internalize this, blame ourselves and really beat ourselves up. We can feel so dejected. I failed one particular exam twice in Cap 2 before eventually going on to get my qualification. I remember those feelings of not being good enough. For some, telling family and friends could be the worst for them. For me, though, it was trying to tell my employer. That sense of dread of being judged by others, that horrible feeling that they would not like me, look at me differently. For in my story, being liked and respected were the biggest needs that I had. So then, all of a sudden, having this shame was so difficult. I remember starting to question myself about this. What am I doing this for? I'm putting myself in a position where this could happen, where I can feel vulnerable, be this vulnerable. It was such a dislike of myself, almost confirming my own feeling of not being good enough. What I didn't know at the time was how I had tied myself up in this, that I was this result. Deep down, I have always been trying to prove that I was good enough and not a fraud. Always had that sense, though, that I was. Having to then face people with this dread of their reaction, this dread of them thinking of me as a failure. I no longer had that wonderful power, that superpower, if you will, of being great at exams, being the intelligent one. I no longer had that thing that proved that I was good enough, but mostly that proved that I was good enough to myself. These exams are extremely hard and extremely tough. But you are not this. You are not this exam result. These may seem like words, but they are important words. Of course, the feeling of these words is what's going to be most important. You feeling the truth of these will be what you can now work on. We can have confidence and we can reset. Firstly, though, it is essential to acknowledge what you are feeling right now as it is valid and important. You can know, though, that you can rise up and go again. Your confidence after this dent can emerge. The great thing is that there is a resilience in all of us, an incredible determination and drive to get there, no matter what we are doing. When we want something, there is a great power in that. None of you that are watching this video would be doing these exams unless you had the ability to do it. You wouldn't have got past all the exams that you've done previously. It's so important to remember all that you have done at a time like this. It's also so important to separate yourself from the exam and the exam result. So many things happen in life, and failing an exam might seem like such a tremendous, cruel thing right now. The ironic thing, though, is that if we separate ourselves, our pure selves, from what we're doing, all those pressures and strains that we perceived can float away. And in fact, they can aid us in actually doing the exam with success the next time. A little knowledge of ourselves and why we are reacting the way we are reacting is always very helpful in this. You are not this exam result, and you are more than capable of getting these exams in the future. Thank you so much for listening to me today, and if you'd like to get in contact, my details are there. Over to you, Brian, again, and thank you.
Thank you, Cyril. I'm just going to touch maybe just for one more minute, maybe on the practical aspects of getting back on track here and getting success second time around. And maybe let's talk about some of the resources that are available from Chartered Accountants Ireland. I'd first say that I'm on the team, the education team, and I have a number of colleagues there on the exam side of things, on the education delivery and elsewhere. Our job is to get all of our students across the line and to do everything we possibly can and to put the resources in place that allow students to do that second time around. There's a lot of resources available online on our learning hub. Hopefully that will allow you to do that. So I'm thinking about some of the key resources that I think I direct students to. One will be the examiner's report. Now, if you're at CAP 1 or at CAP 2, that's going to be the PEC report. If you're an FEE student, it's going to be called the FEEC, but that's the examiner's report. These are on the website, and I think they're really invaluable because this is a report that pulls apart from the examiner's point of view where students answered well, but really importantly, where there was trends where students didn't and let points drop. Now, that's going to be a really valuable tool for any students approaching a repeat exam. So where can I improve? Where can I pick up some marks? Also, our student representative body, CASI produces a report, and that's of value. Again, that's going to be on the website, and it'll help us to see where other peer students found that questions were more difficult. And then you might want to apply your studies and your focus in areas which students indicated that were that they found difficult. I'd also say that my advice would be to plan for success. So, what is your plan from a very practical point of view to get from here to there and make sure that you pass second time around? So, maybe to analyze where you were successful and in what areas did you think that you were maybe was at the root of maybe not getting those exams? Was it in terms of time management? Did you simply run out of time? That's a really difficult thing with exams that are this long and this detailed. Many students will find that that's the case. But how do I get around that? Well, that'll be practice, practice, practice. We have sample papers, a practice paper on the Institute exam platform, Cirrus. And by practicing, you'll be able to time your questions really granularly to know that I can spend 23 minutes, but not 24 on a particular question. Was it from a technical perspective that the knowledge just simply was a little bit bare in certain areas? That's okay. So when we look at the questions that maybe you feel you answered maybe a little more weakly, you can go back and look to all of the resources that are available on our Learning Hub, which will be open to students sitting second time around. You can go back to those. And again, my advice would be, instead of just looking at the slides, maybe listen to a recording, do that, absolutely. But the practice questions will be your key resource there to practice questions. And out of that, exercise, you'll see areas that maybe you're a little more unsure, and you can apply some of your study time to those. Was it knowledge of the exam platform and maybe not being all that comfortable, particularly maybe at Cap 1, our first year, where students are unfamiliar with the exam platform? Was navigating the exam platform an area of difficulty for you? If that was the case, we have the practice paper, which is actually based on the exam platform series, which you can go into and learn to navigate better, how to set up a table, how to increase rows, how to toggle between the question and the answer sheet, use the resources. And again, that comes as a result of practice. That sort of is a whistle-stop tour of all the kind of the practical resources that I would point you towards. But do have a plan. When you've gone through the journey that Cyril has talked to, and you're ready for battle second time around, what are the things that you're going to drive and focus on that are going to get you over the line second time around? And by having that plan and detailing what you're doing each day in the run up to exams, you're going to be in a much stronger position. I hope our students will have found this video, and indeed I hope you find the whole series of videos to be of value. We're going to produce a number of these in association with Thrive. Thanks today for joining us, and please join us next time. Bye-bye now.